Hi, I'm theciaellis, and welcome to this Grandma's Life podcast. Get ready to laugh, learn, and grow with me as we explore growing old in an ever-changing world. One of the good things about growing old is people judge you less when you sometimes say outrageous things. I'm getting older, and I've had a fascinating life. I also have opinions. You may not agree with these opinions, and I may not care. Even now, I am passionate about many things. I love to learn, I love quotes, and I care about my country. Join me as we explore loving life, even as we age. Today is October 7, 2025. This is episode 85, Prepping, Starting Over. In this episode, I will share with you some thoughts that I'm trying to process in my current prepper journey. But first, let's get you caught up on what's going on. I've been trying to exercise more, and I have been better about it. Starting the new job, it was one of those things. I used to exercise in the morning and then would get on with my day. Well, now I'm going to work, and I get off at a decent time. I get off at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but then I'm hungry, and it's hard to exercise when you're hungry and or you got a lot of food on your stomach. So it's been a process but I think I've got a system figured out now where that. I can go to work, come home and eat something, and then I have found, and I exercise in the morning too. I usually do about 15 minutes of yoga, and then I do about 5-10 minutes of core exercises too. So I'm doing that. I just need more, and so there are 2 classes usually every afternoon that I can go to. One at 4:15 and another one at 5:15, and every once in a while I even get both of those according to what's on. So I am trying to exercise more. I like to exercise. It was just getting my head wrapped around a new schedule and getting that done. As most of you know, I've been watching Aunt Frankie occasionally. Well, I was watching every Thursday for a long time, but once I started my job, I couldn't do the Thursday schedule. But there's been enough things going on that I've been able to. I'm still going over there almost once a week to watch Frankie at one time or another. And I think she's 92 now, 93. I think she just turned 93 because I think she was born in 33. So no, that was 92. One way or another, she's declining. And I mean, she's been declining for a year or so anyway, but recently it's been a lot. It's been, I don't know how much longer she's going to last. She's shrunk up to a little bitty thing. I love her dearly. Love her dearly. And it's been hard for me to watch her and this is my first rodeo with dealing with somebody that's elderly. Because if you think about it, my parents are in a facility in Florida and I'm in Oklahoma. So I'm not taking care. I took care of them a few years ago, but they weren't nearly in the condition that they are now, or in the condition that Aunt Frankie is now. And it's been interesting. Recently she goes through stages, but recently it's been more frequent where when she does fall asleep, she's dreaming very hard, reaching out to things, making faces and stuff, and talking to people in her dreams and stuff. And I'm finding out that this is relatively normal as they get to this stage. That dream wake period is the line is much thinner. And in fact, I was on my way to the gym tonight and I got a call that Frankie was in the hospital. And I think she's going to be able to come home from the hospital from this one. But basically, I didn't get to the gym today. And I've learned a lot. It's been a journey. I would not trade it for the world. I love the woman, and it's hard. Even today, when she's in the hospital, she's in so much pain. She just wants somebody to shoot her. And it's so hard to think about somebody. Well, she's been talking about that for a long time anyway. She's ready to go, but her body's not quite cooperating yet. I don't know. I don't know how that works. This is in God's hands and we just leave it to him. But she's ready to go, and it's been kind of a difficult thing. Last weekend, no, was it last weekend? I think it was last weekend. I went to a football game up in Kansas. You know where Kenzie's going to school in Coffeyville, and she's a cheerleader there. And it was the first game I got to watch uh, and watch her do her cheerleading. And I actually had a lot of fun that time. I mean, it was hard. Kenzie's little, so she's one that they throw in the air. She's one that they put up on their shoulders and all that other stuff. And of course, she's never done any of this previous to this year, and she's doing really well. It's just, she's up high in the air, and I've been her protector for several years, and it's difficult to do that, but it was kind of fun at the same time. Poor Diana, my friend who I dragged with me through half my life. She doesn't watch football and she didn't know anything about it, but she went up there with me. Poor thing, she's got a broken foot, so she's traipsing around in a boot. And I'm sitting there with her. And of course, I'm videoing Kenzie doing all the stuff that she's doing, but I also love football, so I'm yelling at football and cheering for Kenzie. And there's a man that was down below me, and he had his son with him. Well, he realized that I knew a little bit about football, so we had a wonderful conversation. I would say pass interference, and he's going, yeah, that was a pass interference. We started talking about plays and all that other stuff. It was fun. And if I was watching Kenzie and videoing Kenzie, if I missed something on a play, he was explaining it to me. Poor Diana, she would just sit there and grin. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was really great. I've met a woman, and she's practicing acupuncture and osteopathy, and she wanted to practice on me, and so I got to go through a session with that. I learned a lot. And obviously she's learning too, because that's what she's trying to do. But it was interesting, and actually was kind of sore after it, and apparently that's good. I ran into an old friend at the grocery store too, my friend Dottie. I hadn't seen her in a while, and we used to be friends when we were both in college. Well, I graduated in 08, and I think she graduated something about that too. So we're talking 15 years or so. And we were friends for a few years after that too, but you know how it is, you just go in your separate ways. But I ran into her in the grocery store, and it was really cool to visit with her for a while and catch up, and I enjoyed that. I have been struggling with some insomnia. I guess you call it insomnia. I fall asleep just fine. My problem is about 2 or 3, o'clock in the morning, I wake up and I just cannot go back to sleep. I'm having some anxiety issues and stuff, and I pray, but it's still there. So in some ways it's kind of working out. I get up and get to work, I'm actually being a little bit productive, and it's kind of nice, but at the same time, I'm tired. I need sleep. I need to have a regular schedule, and I try to keep a regular schedule. It's not that I'm doing crazy things to keep me from having, you know how it is when you go, well, you go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning one night, and you go to bed at 10 the next night, all that other stuff. I'm pretty regular about when I go to bed and what I do, my bedtime routine. So that's not an issue. Like I said, I have no trouble falling asleep. It's the middle of the night when I wake up from a disturbing dream where I just need to use the bathroom and my brain starts working. So I've been struggling with that a little bit. This most recent weekend was busy. It was busy. I can't remember what I was doing on Friday. I was doing something that in the morning, but on Friday was the homecoming parade, because this was my 45th year class reunion. And so we got to be in the parade. That was really neat. I only went to school in Claremore my senior year, so it's not like I'm real buddies with a whole lot of them or anything, or know that many of them. But it was fun to participate and be a part of that. So, but I did get a little bit sunburned on it because you said it's been hot the last few days. Only today has finally cooled off, but it's been pretty warm, and I'm not out in the sun like it used to be all the time. So I got a little bit of a sunburn at the parade, but I was okay with that. The next morning, on Saturday morning, I got up and did a couple hours of helping hands, and that's always just hopping busy. Even if it's only 2 hours, you're tired afterward, and it's just so busy. But as soon as I was done with that, I drove back to Kansas and watched the Western Iowa game with Kenzie. This time it was not so fun. I really struggled with this one. I guess the cheer team was a little bit off, and They nearly dropped Kenzie 2 or 3 times. They did drop one. Well, they caught her just before she hit the ground, but that was rough to watch. And I really hope she gets on a football, well, not a football, but a softball team this next year. I really pray that she does, because I don't know, I'm struggling. I thought, and it was kind of rough. You know how all sports have a little bit of something that you can get hurt with, but not 10, 15 feet in the air, because sometimes she's in the third layer up or level up, I guess. So I don't know, it's nerve wracking. I couldn't even watch the game very much because I was too busy holding my breath on what was happening with the cheerleaders. And I was really glad and the sun was really out that day, and I got pretty burned. And so I come home pretty toasty red and had to get ready to go to the homecoming banquet thing. It wasn't a banquet necessarily. We went to Will Rogers museum and memorial, and it was nice and everything, but I'm like I said, I was toasty red and trying to cover it up with makeup and stuff. And then I don't know, it was kind of neat. It was good to connect with some of them, but by the time I had done helping hands that morning, the football game in Kansas that afternoon, and the reunion that evening, I was ready to quit for the day. So I'm pretty much caught up on that. I'm still learning and getting some things done on my job. There's a lot to learn. I'm getting there. It's going pretty good. But it's going pretty good. All right. What I'm listening to, I'm still doing The Fourth Turning by William Strauss. I'm on the second listen on that, and I still got quite a ways to do on it. And and I'm glad I re-listened, because I'm catching a lot of things that I missed the first time. But sometimes he goes through a period that it's kind of a repetitive thing, and I get a little bit like, okay, we got it, move on, But other than that, I'm learning stuff on that one, and I'm like it. Forever Odd. I'm not doing Forever Odd. I'm on Brother Odd, and I'm on the first listening for that one, for Brother Odd. And I know I read it several years ago, but I'm really glad that I'm listening to it now. And as soon as I finish it, I will be listening to it again. But yes, I'm listening to Brother Odd now. I forgot about that. I didn't change it in my thing. What I'm actually reading, I am Middle Ages. I'm still working on the Middle Ages by Morris Bishop, and I'm now in the Whispering Room. I can't remember if I had done. This is the second book of the Jane Hawk series that he's written, and it's better. The first book was okay, but I didn't like the ending. There was too many loose ends. Well, it's because he had written a second book, and he's clearing up those loose ends now, so that makes it easier and better for me, and I appreciate that. All right, my quote of the week is, "Action is a foundational key to all success," by Pablo Picasso. And I hope, don't chew me out, don't turn me off because of this, but I got so caught up in all of his names, and I know I'm going to mispronounce some of these, but Pablo Picasso, I'm going to take a deep breath, was Pablo Diego Jose Francisco de la Paula Juan Nepomuceno, I think, Maria de los Remedios Cipriano da Santissima Trinidad Ruiz de Picasso. That was his name. Now, and when I found, and I even went a little bit deeper down this rabbit hole, his father was named Jose Ruiz Blasco, but his mother was Maria Picasso y Lopez. So she was a Picasso. And I thought that was interesting that his name was I guess, a matriarch type situation. And then I had noticed that some of these names sounded a little bit Italian to me. Well, that's because Pablo's maternal grandmother had moved from Italy to Spain around 1807. So some of her names. So the Italian names were in there along. He was also named after some various saints and other relatives and stuff. And that was part of the reason he has such a long name. It was kind of crazy. So, but Pablo was born October 25th, 1891, and I think it's pronounced Malaga, Spain, but spent most of his life in France. And he was known to have produced as many as 50,000 works of art, including paintings, prints, sculpture, and ceramics. But he also contributed significantly to the development of modern art, like cubism and surrealism. And of course, he's known to have gone through a blue period and a couple other color periods and stuff too. But modern art he did regular artwork as a child, but as he got older and went into adulthood, he started doing more of the modern art. Whereas like with the cubism is basically a bunch of boxes and stuff, and surrealism, like if you think about it, some of his stuff is off kilter from each other and just not true to form art. Like when you draw somebody's face, it doesn't necessarily look like a normal person face. It looks like it's surreal or something. So it was interesting. It was an interesting rabbit hole I got to go down with Pablo Picasso on that one. Oh, I'm going to be repeat. So, and if you remember, his quote was, "Action is the foundational key to all success." And of course, as usually, I try to come up with a quote that most closely mirrors what it is I want to talk about in my podcast. And this one is, the main subject was prepping and starting over. Okay. When I had the farm, I had that set up, and it worked out well during COVID, especially when we were locked down and stuff, because I had warned my family, we're going to be locked down for at least 2 weeks. We need to plan to be able to lock down for a month. I don't know what we're getting into. So I had the stores years ago. I can't remember what year it was, probably back in 2011 or something along that line. I had decided that we needed to keep extra food in the place. Maybe even before that, because I remember whenever I was younger and you didn't have money between paydays and you ran out of shampoo, you didn't just run to the store and get shampoo. So what I would do is I always made sure I had a backup. Well, yeah, that is a type of prepping thing. Nobody says you got to stock floor to ceiling with everything. You plan ahead. Even if you still got half a bottle of shampoo or half a bottle of conditioner or toothpaste, I always keep a backup of everything, or I did in the past. And so that started way back. But then when Tom first got real depressed back in about 2011, we got down to mystery meat in the bottom of the freezer, and I thought, I know how to take care of that. So that's when I started doing the prepping thing. Now, somewhere along in there, I started listening to Jack Spirko with the Survival Podcast, and he's one that talked about copy canning is where, like, if you need a can of green beans, buy 2 and stash it. And you build up and whatever it is you buy extra. So at first you are spending extra money for this food, but it's food that you're using, and you have a place to stash it. And when we got onto the farm, I actually had a pretty decent place to stash all my canned goods and other things like that. Once you get up to a certain level, you don't have to buy extra can of green beans or an extra can of tomato sauce or anything like that. You just use what's on there. The oldest, you rotate it out. You use the oldest, and next payday you replace that can. And so once you get your stores up to snuff, it actually costs less, and you go back to where you were, but you still got all this food that you would need. So that's what I had done. But I had taken it even further, because I never know, because I was a mom. I had been a single mom over the years, and I had a responsibility to make sure that my family was fed. And even when I was married to Tom and I had Kinsey that was living with me and stuff, I had made it my job, no matter what happened in the rest of the world, my family was going to eat. And so I had even thought about, okay, so I've got all this food. What if we have a long-term situation and I go out of my food? That's when I started the animals. And even in the animals, I thought of ways that I can make sure that I didn't want to have animals and things go bad and I have a way to feed them. And they tell you, well, if that comes down to that, well, then you can you can shoot them and kill them and eat them, and that's what they were for, is to be eaten. But you don't want to necessarily do that either, unless it comes down to it. So I got animals and we were on a property that had a lot of grass, and I had purchased electric net fencing, and I had battery operated chargers, which were not like the strongest, but they did the job. So I could move my birds around, and I even got pigs. The pigs I got could go through a lot of food, but if you moved them enough, and these were Idaho pasture pigs, and yes, they really like grass. If I threw food down, but they also had a fresh patch of grass, they preferred the fresh patch of grass than the food that I would throw down for them. And so I had a setup that regardless of what happened in the world, my family was going to eat, and that was very important to me. And then Tom had a psychotic break, and I lost my farm, and basically had me kicked off the farm. So I got out with most of my clothes, my computer, and a handful of things. I ended up with a dresser, but basically I had been starting over. Well, Kenzie's grown. Obviously, Tom doesn't need me anymore, and that's fine. So it was just me, and I didn't feel like prepping anymore. I didn't want to prep. I didn't care, if whatever was going to happen. And I was too busy trying to adjust to my new life. I'm just too busy trying to find my way into the world, and I'm still trying to go through the court system and trying to figure out all the stuff that's going with that too. And the whole thing's been a nightmare, but one way or another. And honestly, when it came down to it, because I was the only one doing the work over the farm, I was tired. I'm 63 now, and I was tired. I was trying to take care of this farm with no tools. I had even the push mower died at one point. So I was trying to take care of feeding my animals and taking care of stuff with a scythe, and just all the things that was doing to take care of the place. And I was tired. So I quit prepping. Well, I couldn't. I didn't have, here I am. I've been self-employed, basically taking care of my family for all these years. For 25 years, I haven't had a real job. When we had the laundromat, we got rid of it in 2013, and I was there for like 13 years, but it wasn't a real job. It was basically considered self-employed. It was Tom's laundromat, and I ran it for him. And that, when you're 63 and looking for a job, that's not necessarily considered a employment. And so it took me a long time to find employment. And I do have a job now. It's only part-time, but at the same time, I'll have to admit, I'm glad I have it's part-time, but I still needed funds. I needed to be able to support myself. Right now I am in the parsonage, and these people are just good to me, but I don't want to live under their roof for any longer than I have to. I love it here. It's kind of weird because I really do love it here, and I really do appreciate it. But I don't want to live under them. They would be happy to have me here. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the way I do things. I want to be on my own and do what I need to do. So, and I am in one room and I have a kitchen, of course, and I've got a closet and a bathroom and stuff, but there's not a lot. I could store stuff in the kitchen. I don't even cook that much anymore. It's just me. I got eggs. I got, smoked sausage. I keep a few things around to do, but I just don't even do that much anymore. So there's been no need for me to do a whole lot of prepping there too. I want to travel. I want to try to figure out how to get a camper van. I want to see the United States. I want to take friends with me and go see different things. Well, you can't store a lot of food or do a lot of prepping in a van either. So basically, and people have been so good to me. They keep trying to give me stuff. A lady called me today, wanted to know if I needed towels and washcloths. It's like, nope, I got plenty. I'm good. And I don't want extra stuff. People have been trying to give me furniture. I've got all the furniture I need right now. I don't want more, especially if I end up going into the van, or if there's another place I may end up going. I'm not going to need a lot of furniture there too. Pretty much what I have now is what I'm going to need. But but will I get my farm back? I don't know. What will I do if I do get my farm back? I don't know. So everything's still up in the air. And like I said before, everything's seriously going through legal issues, and this has been a long drawn out thing. And so I don't know how it's going to go, but still, some habits never die. I like having a backup of shampoo. I like having a backup of a can of corn. I like having a backup of different things and have it stored properly and doing things. And with all the turmoil in the world, no matter how hard some of us are trying to keep peace in the world, no matter what's been going on, there are other people in the world who really, really want to see our country go down. And then what are we going to do? I don't know that we're going to be prepared for any of that. And I felt like when I was on the farm and the practices that I had implemented, I could get us through. I could get us through a lot. I can't do that now. But like I said, it's just me. But I'm not the only one in the world. I have friends. I have beautiful people who are surrounding me and taking care of me, and I want to take care of them. So I'm trying to figure it out. What can I do? How can I prepare? A couple extra cans of corn is not going to do that much. A couple, backup of shampoo is not going to be that much, but it might be all I can do for right now. If I get my camper van, it's going to be a perfect bug out vehicle. That'll be great. I don't know. Like I said, finances, living arrangements, all this stuff is kind of making everything up in the air for me. So I'm not exactly sure what to do. At the same time, I feel like I need to be preparing. I need to be ready to take care of myself. To take care of things. I need to be able to know that I can get to some food if I need it. I need to know that I can take care of my friends around me if that's what I need to do. So I am doing the thinking of what would I do? And I guess that kind of leads me to my question of the day. If you were in my position, or if you need any other position where you are in a situation where you can't really do a lot of storing, you can't do any farming, you can't, have any animals in a garden and all that other stuff. I don't know. And now at least I'm still not in the city. Thank God I'm not in the city. But what would you suggest as ways that I could prepare for life events? What are some of the suggestions that you would have? I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get back into trying to be some sort of a prepper, trying to do things to take care of myself. And even if I do get to go back on the farm, though, I don't know that I'm ever going to do animals again. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. Maybe I'll just take the attitude as like, I'm 63. I've had a good life. If I die, I die. I don't know. I'd like to hear your suggestions. Send me an email at theciaellis@gmail.com, theciaellis @gmail.com. I want to remind you that I'm doing this I recorded on Streamyard. Streamyard's doing all kinds of stuff. I need to learn. I need to start taking classes on how to do stuff. And if they have online classes, maybe I'll start doing it. Oh yeah, I'll do that in my spare time too. But Streamyard is a good platform to record things. I use it for recording my podcasts and put them out. I can do audio only and audio and video, and that's what I'm going to do with this particular one. It's going to be a video of just me talking, and I'm going to put it on my This Grandma's Life YouTube channel. But I'm also going to do audio only, put it out there as a regular podcast, so you can listen to it on your favorite podcatcher, like I always tell you to do. But I also do my growth sessions almost every day. There's different things that I do that I put on Streamyard that records it for me with audio and or video, and helps me to get that stuff out there. If you have something projects that you would like to get out there to people and stuff too, I would encourage you to use Streamyard and use my link below, and that would help me out. And I would greatly appreciate that. And I would appreciate it if you would leave a 5-star review. Tell others about this podcast. I'm getting back into it. I think I'm going to be on this for a pretty good deal. I'm certainly more consistent with it, and I'm hoping to have the best content that I have for you also. Check out my other YouTube channel, Grandma's Homestead. That's right now, because I'm not on the homestead, it's just cooking. A lot of my focus is on cooking from the pantry, and Depression era meals, and I'm enjoying that. I do some other stuff too, but my favorite part of it is Depression era or cooking from the pantry and dishes and stuff. I just made a recent video I did was peanut butter bread. And it was a hit at church because I cook at church and stuff. And I thought, yeah, peanut butter bread is okay. That was an interesting one. That was considered a Depression era dish because the peanut butter was part of the fat. If you don't, if they were getting commodities, a lot of them were getting commodities at the time. So they had the peanut butter and it's high fat. And if they didn't have lard or grease or something like that, or less of it, the peanut butter act as a flavoring and the fat for the dish. And it was actually just really good. I put butter on it. You can put grape jelly. You can put honey on it, whatever it is, however you like your peanut butter. It was good. So check out Grandma's Homestead YouTube channel. And I'll see you next time. We'll get this going. But I would appreciate some input and see what you think I should do. Until then, live until you die, guys. God bless. I'll see you next time.